Okay. Hello everyone, and myself, Mrs. Kalpana Singh. I am a senior research fellow in Department of Sociology in DBS PG College, Kanpur. Okay, I am working under the supervision of Professor Dr. Rajiv Kumar sir. Okay. Now let's move. Okay. So this is a picture of Karl Marx. Though most of you know about this, but just for the reference, I included this in the slide. These are the few of the notable works done by Karl Marx. The Holy Family with Angels, 1845. The German Ideology with Angels, 1847. The Poverty of Philosophy, 1847. Communist Manifesto with Angels, 1848. A Contribution to the Critique of Political Economy, 1859. Das Kapital, 1867. Okay. There are a number of other notable works. For that, you have to search it online or go for some authentic books. Okay. From there, you can include those work also in your notes. For objective kind of exam, you have to go for more books. Okay. Now let's start with first of his key concept, that is historical materialism. Let's start with his statement. In the social production of their life, men enter into definite relations that are indispensable and independent of their will. Relations of production which correspond to a definite stage of development of their material productive forces. The sum total of these relations of production constitutes the economic structure of society, the real foundation, on which rises a legal and political superstructure, and to which correspond definite form of social consciousness, the mode of production of material life conditions, the social, political, and intellectual life process in general. Karl Marx inverted Hegel dialectics of ideas. Okay, you have to go a little bit before Karl Marx and go through the ideas given by Frederick Engels. Okay, because the ideas has a significant impact on Karl Marx concepts. So, what is dialectics? Dialectics, you might have heard this term called Shastras in ancient time also. Number of people gather together and they gather and discuss over a topic. Some of the people give statement about the particular topic, then other group of people go for the counter statement. Then there comes a synthesis. There is a common things. They come up with a new solution to it. So this particular process was described by uh, Hegel as a dialectic. There is a thesis, then there comes up a counter argument called the antithesis, then there comes something new out of taking the essence of both the thesis and antithesis, that is synthesis. And this process is a continuous, okay. In a time being, this synthesis act as a thesis, then again comes some counter uh, statement about this particular thesis, and that become antithesis, then again comes synthesis, and this likewise this process continues. Okay, what was the idea that how these changes happen in the society, how things being work in the society solely depend upon the ideas of an individual, the thinking capacity of an individual. Okay, the spiritual capacity of the individual, and this was given by Hegel. The basic problem that Karl Marx found with this statement is that if a person need to go for some higher level, higher order thinking that can somehow change the society itself, then first need is the survival of that particular person. Okay, his basic and essential needs must be fulfilled. And what are the essential needs? In early time, we say to these three words: roti, kapra, and this makan. Okay, the food, the clothing, and the shelter. This was the earlier time. Now these needs have the list is pretty longer as compared to the earlier time. So what was his point was that to survive, one need to live first. To live, one need food, and to have food, one has to enter the the process of production. Okay, even it is agriculture or it be a factories, one needs first production process. Okay, so this production process defines comes under the category of economic structure. Okay, so here in the statement, if you go slowly and read this words very carefully, you will get the essence of it. Okay, let's see here. Just a minute. Let me select one pen. Okay, okay. See, here we see in the social production of their life, men enter into the def definite relations. Okay, that are indispensable, independent of their will. What are the relation of production? Okay, which correspond to a definite stage of development of their material productive forces. Okay, that is, material is very central. This material structure or the material essence is very central to concepts of Karl Marx in all the major theories. Okay, then the sum total of this relation of production constitutes the what it constitutes the economic structure of society. It is the real foundation. See what he has written, it is the real foundation. And on this particular real foundation, what lies, there's a political superstructure, okay, a group of things, superstructure that will go for explaining in the upcoming slides. But superstructure relies upon the this economic structure, and the history is explained in terms of this materialistic structure, this economic structure itself. So he analyzed and give this entire history, the changes, the forms in the society, all on the basis of economic things, on the basis of materialistic things. Okay, now this was the basic introduction about the historical materialism. Okay, next come the class struggle. The history of all hitherto society is the history of the class struggle. Here, Marx tries to analyze the transition from one form of society to another form of society on the basis of its economic structure, productive structure. Okay, other things are secondary to Karl Marx. The primary thing it is economic structure, the way of production. Okay, now you see the first is primitive communism. Definitely, they were uh, hunters and food gatherers. Okay, they keep on roaming all the way around. Okay, so they were kind of vagabonds. Okay, so there was no class. The ultimate aim was their day-to-day survival. So day-to-day survival was far more important. So there was no concept of accumulation of anything, or there was no any concept of private property. It was a classless society. There was not any class. Okay, after that rises the classes, and he divided two every kind of society in two classes: one who owns the means of resources, other who doesn't have any owning kind of structure of any kind of means of resources. They just have to work under this has who own these resources. Okay, and this relationship is exploitative in nature. This haves class always try to exploit and get maximum out of the have nots. Okay, and keep them in their position of somehow poverty or poor or bad conditions, and their interests are always in clash, and this clashes somehow when get intense, then it come up on the ground, and it gave way to next form of society. So it was earlier the slave society when two classes were the master and the slaves. In while the same concept we have seen the fatalistic kind of society, and it was said that, for example, it was given that the society committed by the slaves. Now these slaves don't even own their own body itself. Their body was considered as a thing, just like other thing a person possesses, like my mobile phone I possess, or and the possession I possession, the material possessions I have. Similar, you have the possessions of the slaves. Even you see there is a description in history books about the markets of slaves. There is a selling and buying of slaves. Okay, so slave was just like a thing, and master had all the absolute right over their slaves. Okay, absolute right. Okay, it means that sometimes you see in history books there is instances of in villages you see cockfights. Okay, similarly there was slave fight, and the people around them sitting enjoying alcohols and other leisure activities, and in the meantime two slaves are fighting unless one die, and when any one of the slave get died, then his body is disposed to the pet animals. Okay, so this was the condition of the slaves. Okay, so when this subjugated class get consciousness about their conditions, and they come with the direct clash with the master, then they come up with a new kind of society, that is feudal society. Okay. Now again they have and have nots. The haves were those, the most important thing, the resource was land, and those landowners were the haves. Whereas other side there is a peasant. Okay. They they were working on the lands of the big farmers. Now here I would like to mention this was a theoretical structure. Okay, in India, you see there was example of Jajmani system, where there is a Jajman and there is a Kaveen. Okay, and both the system of this Jajmani system was very functional to both of the people. The Jajman getting the services, sorry, Jajman getting the services of Kamins on the different occasion, and Kamins the getting this thing paid back in terms of kinds and cash, both the things. And in times of emergency, this Kamin can easily go to their Jajmans and ask for help, and immediately they get help, not like this formal structure where they say for so many formal works before providing you the relief things, okay, help and all that thing. So Jajmani system can't be analyzed with the Western glass, okay. This is the variation only. Don't think that this theory was given by Karl Marx. It was number of anthropologists and sociologists went for research over the Jajmani system, and they have seen it as working functional in the village society of India, okay. Now in capitalist society, the two classes were bourgeoisie and proletariat. Bourgeoisie, the owners of the means of production, the lands, the factories, not land, the factory system, and the tools, okay, everything. Proletariat were the laborers, so those only have their labor to sell. Nothing, well, they don't have anything else to sell, okay. So the only thing they have is their labors. So what when bourgeoisie and proletariat, there is a conflict of interest, okay. Bourgeoisie want more and more profit, whereas profit can only be attained by reducing the labor charges, because rest are raw material, they are static in nature. You can't reduce the cost price of those particular things. What only you can reduce is the labor charges, okay, the labor prices, okay. So they make them work forcibly in inhuman conditions for long hours of time without compensating them. Here also, when you read Karl Marx in books, you will get to know surplus value, that the proletariat is not getting any part of the profit share from the bourgeoisie side, and this profit gets accumulated with the bourgeoisie, and they then reinvest this, and so in this similar manner they expand their work, okay, and they expand a big system, okay. And proletariat are merely the labor in that particular system, the exploited people, whereas the bourgeoisie is the exploiter, okay. When they will have this consciousness about their conditions, and they will um, fight for their rights, then it will give rise to socialism, where state will hold all the things and it will distribute the profit according to the need of the individuals, okay. Then the last thing is the communalism, where they decided that, okay, the Karl Marx said that, okay, there will be ultimate society where there won't be any class and equality everywhere, kind of ideal dream. Okay, and yes, there is a critics that is considered as a utopia. Okay, that communism is not going to come. Even you see in examples the disintegration of USSR, and you see the present condition in China, where there is, though it's a communist country, you see there is a government people and there are ordinary peoples, and they have a conflict of interest. Okay, you see number of bans on ordinary peoples, on establishing connection with outside world, and number of social networking sites are banned. So you see, though it is a communist country, but you won't see kind of communism thought by Karl Marx is coming into reality in these countries, and they are moving towards the capitalist society. So the ultimate solution, or the reality we have, path we have, is only the capitalist society today. Now, one more thing. It was the classical structure, and it was analyzed by Karl Marx in his time. It is not the condition of the contemporary society. In contemporary, this working class, we see there is a significant rise in the standard of living. You see, they are owning their houses, flats, and they are having four-wheelers. Okay, they are giving their children good education. So you see, there is a considerable rise in the standard of living in their material possessions. So it was not similar to the previous or the era that Karl Marx has described. Okay, and in India also, in across the world, you see there is a rise in laws, in regulations, which somehow better make it better the working condition, and somehow finalizes the working hours, give maternity benefits, the women working in the factories, and prohibiting children to work under this some factories not suitable for those under certain kind of age. Okay, child labor is strictly prohibited under laws and regulations, and it is being monitored strictly. Definitely, there are deviations, there are some exceptions. There do we do come across, but on paper, theoretically, on laws with regulation act, we see that definitely there is a rise in standard of living on the people coming under the proletariat category. Okay, so the question is about not abolishing the capitalist society, not completely or absolutely erasing it, but to reforming it to a great extent. Okay, we see today the profit sharing by, you see, people, ordinary people investing into share markets and purchasing the share of big companies, and this is kind of distribution of profits. It is not the accumulation of profit, but instead it is a distribution of profit. Okay, so we see a good condition, a good reformation coming under the capitalist society. So this was a brief introduction about the class struggle given by Karl Marx, and this was the critics that I have explained, or the contemporary changes. The classical remains the same. There is a haves and there is a have-nots. Haves owning the means of production, owning the resources, exploit the have-nots. Okay, and when there is a clash, there is a direct clash. There is a change in the form of society. That's it. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Okay, this is a very good picture, exactly telling, uh, giving the imprint of that time of society, that how things are controlled by economy and how it is being somehow percolating down. Okay, see, just a minute. Where is the pen? Okay, okay. See, topmost, you see, this is money. That is capitalism. Okay. Then you see, there are kings and clergies. We rule you. What they are saying? We rule you. Then these are seen like religious leaders. They say we fool you. Then there is soldiers, a group of soldiers. They say we shoot at you. Okay. Then these are the upper class people enjoying the luxury of life. Okay. What they are saying? We eat for you. Okay. Somewhere it is written. Yeah, this is we eat for you. And the last, it is, see, you see, this is farmer. Okay, then there are laborers, all the lower strata of the society. We feed all, means, you see, they work for everybody above. Okay, and they rule and exploit everybody below. This was the basic structure. Okay, so by this pyramid of capitalist system, you will have a very clear idea about how this capitalist system works and exploit people at the lower class. Okay, let's move. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. Now coming to the concept of, two concepts are here. First is economic determinism. Okay. It is now clearly understandable by most of you that everything is decided by the economic structure. And economic, this base consists of modes of production and relations of production. In modes of production, we consider the resources, okay, the tools, the capital, okay, all the investment thing. And in relation of production, the people working under those structure, okay, they are the people. This is the base. They are the people. They are the part of the economic base. And this entire base decide the superstructure. What is superstructure? It consists of family, kinship, uh, political system, education, everything else. In general, everything else. Okay. So economic base is the key determinant of the superstructure. Okay. So this is the economic determinism. Means economy determines the rest of the society and how it will work. And every other thing is somehow serving the economic base. Even the education system we see today, political system, family system, supporting the individual success, the accumulation of wealth, and praising the wealth ultimately. So we see economic base is the sole deciding structure of a society. Okay. Second, just a minute. Second is consciousness. Okay. Now here, first we read the statement. Anyone who accuses us of economic determinism does not understand dialectics. All Marx and I ever said was that the mode of production ultimately determines social consciousness. Angels in 1891. There is two things, okay, false consciousness and true consciousness. When you know that you particularly working in a certain system and you are aware of the condition, okay, so this is called as a false consciousness. Means you know that you are working and this is a bad condition, this is happening to you, this all kind of system. Okay, then that is a false consciousness. And that determines a class in itself. That forms a class in itself. Okay. But when it changes, okay, when workers across the country, across the world unite together and come to know that their condition is really bad, they have to fight for their rights, then this false consciousness convert into true consciousness. And this class in itself converts into class for itself. Okay, then there is a clash of interest, there is a protest for rights and everything else for better working condition, better pay, and number of benefits that should be given is demanded. So this is the true thing about false consciousness and true consciousness. Okay, that was a brief introduction. Now let's move to another slide. Okay, just a minute. Okay, now this is alienation. Okay, a very famous concept. The labor is external to the worker. It does not belong to laborer's interest. He is unhappy with it, mortifies his body, and rules his mind. Labor, therefore, is not voluntary but forced. It is forced labor. Now, here you see alienation, and there are four kind of it, and gradually happen that to end at the self, alienation from the self. It starts from the products, okay, then the person feel alienated from the product, distance himself from the product, then he feels alienated from the productive activity, then he feels alienated from the co-workers, and at the end he feels alienated from the self. Now take an example. If you go for some you have seen some heavy factory working machineries videos available online on National Geographic channels also. You can see, go and see for Amul factory making dairy products and how heavy machines are working in factory system, and the only job of first they reduces the labors, and then those who are present they are doing a similar kind of job, a part of a entire process. Okay, the entire product, like if there is a manufacturing industry of car, then the only work of a person is to fix a tire or fix a nut or fix some mechanical part, some part, okay, some tools, okay, so very small part in the entire object. Okay, so this process when continues for a very long of time, it makes the labor alienated from the product. Then this productive activity, there is a conveyor belt. Okay, Taylor come with this scientific management. If you read it, then there is a conveyor belt, and this belt moves in front of every labor, and he have to fix things accordingly. Okay, he doesn't have to move. Now this conveyor belt was invented just to reduce the time and increase the production, and in consequently will increase the profit. So in this entire process, the labor feel himself alienated from the productive activity. Then in factory. Not say factory. Let's take an example from MACD. If you go to MACD, next time you must observe there is a wall and there is a very kind of square kind of there is a certificate kind of written there that this particular person is a best performer of the month or best performer of the week or year. I really don't know exactly what exactly timeline, but I have seen this multiple times that there is kind of best performer or best worker. Okay, in a particular environment, when number of people are working together under a same roof, the competition is not valued, the competition is priced. Okay, so in that process you are competing with your co-worker, and in the long run you feel alienated from the co-worker too. Okay, and when these three kind of alienation mentioned above in the boxes happen, at the end you feel alienated from your own self. Okay, so this was the concept of alienation given by Karl Marx. Or let us take one more very simple example. At home, when we cook something like Like you are cooking some special dish, okay? Let's take an example of halwa or something, whatever you feel the best dish, okay? You are giving your 100% in making that dish because you are making it out of love, out of emotion towards your parents or siblings or spouse, okay? And you are making it out of emotion. You are going 100% in it. So when it reach to the customer, it means customer what to say, your family members or for whom you are making it, when they say okay it is too nice today, so you feel a bit of joy, okay, okay, I cooked a very good dish today. So you feel the dish belongs to you. You feel yourself, your entire labor is assimilated in the dish. But in factory system, the condition is exactly opposite. Okay, they are just working for the survival. Okay, and the product they are making, they have no interest in that product. They are even if let's say they have some interest, nobody is there to take care of their interest. Nobody is taking care of the decision for that particular decision making, design, color. Some higher skilled professionals are already hired in the company, in the system, okay? So labor is just like a machine. He is acting just like a tool in the entire machine, okay? For that reason, I just put a slide on it. If it works, then you will come to exactly know how this capitalist system convert the labor into a machine. He himself becomes a machine. Okay. So this was a brief introduction. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Okay. You see this video? Okay. I think audio is not coming. Okay. There is no need of audio. This is a very famous uh, scene given by a very famous actor of that times of Charlie Chaplin, an all-time favorite actor. You see how in factory things go on, things works, okay? And this is very important. You see what a labor is doing in a factory on a conveyor belt, okay? And it's very obvious that I'm not getting the voice of this video, but it's clearly understandable what is going on in this video, okay? The man becomes machine. How a factory system converts a man into a machine. Okay, that is all about the given in the video. And how this work done by at labor at a factory becomes their part, that it is so much ingrained in their day-to-day work that they even don't feel that they have to think differently or think something outside the factory as a human. So this they convert it completely. The system convert them completely. And this video is taken from YouTube. You can kindly go and check with audios if you need to listen what's there. But this is not, there is no dialogues, there is just music in it, okay? There are no dialogues in it. I hope it's clearly visible to all of you. And how they have been trained by their supervisors that they can't think differently out of their work. And later on in their life, when they retire out of this factory, they uh, somehow not able to cope up with the environment, human environment. And any kind of mm, act apart from the given instructions is not accepted at all. Okay, so this was a very good and a very famous example of how the conveyor belt works. Okay, okay. Now let's come to this religion and circumstances. Okay, so if there is a very big difference between how Emile Durkheim looks towards religion and its contribution towards increasing the solidarity of the society, whereas Karl Marx see religion acting as a opium for the people. Okay, something opium is a kind of narcotic drug, you can say, that that has some sedentary effect over the mind of individual, that after having this or after following it you can't think freely about your exact real situations. Okay, this is the statement: religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the sentiment of a heartless world, and the soul of soulless condition. It is the opium of the people. And second statement is a very important and a very famous statement: people make their own history, but they do not make it as they please. They do not make it under self-selected circumstances, but under circumstances existing already, given and transmitted from the past. Okay. Now let us understand in a very limited amount of words that religion, if we see even in Hindu religion also, we talk about the concept of rebirth. Okay, the karma theory and the reincarnation. Okay, and something, if somebody is suffering too much in this life, then he must have committed sins in the past life. So these kind of acts. Okay, so what happened that this entire religion system justifies this stratification system. Okay, it justifies the poverty. If somebody is poor or facing troubles in their life, then he himself, he is made responsible for his own this miserable situation, miserable condition. So religion somehow curtains the ground reality and make them and act as opium for the people. They are not able to see their reality and their this oppressive system and exploitating system. And in the long run, they feel that whatever they are doing, whatever they are having or whatever they are experiencing, it's just because of their act only. So for that reason, Karl Marx uh, looks on religion as something working against this proletariat category. Okay, so this was about a very brief introduction about the thinking of Karl Marx and how it sees religion works in the society. Okay, now let's move. Okay, here it ended. So this was the very brief introduction about the theories given by Karl Marx. Okay, now you go and read from some authentic sources about Karl Marx in detail. Okay, then you will find that this was the summary, and you will have to add number of things into it. Okay, thank you so much. Enjoy your day, and we will meet in next thinker in next class. Okay, okay, goodbye. Have a nice day.